Welcome everyone and thank you for being here. So today we want to talk about teamwork. To specify, we want to talk about one of the most important, the most interesting, and the most complex aspects of teamwork, which is team trust. So a good example to better demonstrate what exactly we're going to talk about is team sports of any kind, basically. So what does it look like on a field when a team doesn't trust each other? People won't pass, players will be afraid to rely on one another, so it's just a bunch of people running around trying to achieve some kind of goal of their own. So this essentially means that a team is not really a team without trust. Although trust is not something that is already there. Trust is a complex process that requires energy and time. And essentially, it's a process through which you actually become a team. So now you might ask yourself, why on earth do I need this information? Well, that is simply because each and every single one of us was or will be in a situation where you have to work in a team or a group or even with people in general. And by taking into account this information that we give to you right now, you will not just be able to be a part of a team, you'll be able to be a part of a successful team. So today we're going to discuss multiple factors underlying team trust, but we're going to start off with accountability. Now, one of the main features of accountability is actually being able to understand and realize that it is your ability to accomplish things that directly affects your team members' ability to accomplish their own goals. This essentially means that even if you're a few days late on the deadline, that could mean that the rest of your team will be late on the deadline as well and miss it, just because you're holding them up. Now, it is important for every member of any team to realize that it is their responsibility for the team's successes and failures as well as that accountability must go both ways. This means that there should be constant communication, open sharing of ideas, as well as a clearly set and defined goal. So, by communicating, by trusting each other, by holding yourself and your teammates accountable when needed, by listening, and most important of all, by hearing each other, that is what makes your team a real and successful team.
Many people consider trust to be based only on keeping agreements and telling the truth. But if you dive deeper into what aspects make a person trustworthy, you will see that trust involves a much broader range of activities than whether you or someone else is reliable. Webster's dictionary defines trust as total confidence in the integrity, ability, and good character of another. And again, integrity is defined as the firm adherence to a code or standard of values in the quality or condition of being undivided. Here, I define integrity in order to show that trust really involves the whole of a person, rather than just their ability to keep their word, but also whether they live a set of values. It involves the idea of character. And here, when I'm referring to a set of values and the idea of character, this is where we start to see respect come in. For example, would someone who is disrespectful and unkind towards you be a person you are likely to stay within a relationship with, even if they keep all of your agreements? Relationships in this scenario apply to both business and personal life. Trust is multifaceted. If you believe your clients will do business with you simply because you show up on time or do what you say, even though you speak rudely to them or mistreat the waiter at lunch, you may be surprised. When we show respect to others, we build trust with them and with those around us who experience us as being respectful. Respect can be defined in many ways. It is to admire someone or something deeply as a result of their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Respect is an overall evaluation that you give someone based on many factors. These include what the person is doing with their life, how they treat you and treat others, whether this person is honest or not, and if they seem to constantly be doing good things, whether large or small, for other people. Stressing on the factor that stated whether they are honest or not, as this factor basically is saying whether a person is trustworthy or not. A main factor is considering your tone of voice. Would you be more or less trustworthy if you yell at people, or if you spoke in a gentle manner? Notice how you listen when others speak. Do you give them your full and undivided attention? Imagine how they feel towards you. If you were attentive and curious about what they were saying. Listening and being respectful will not only build trust with others, but will cause them to want to listen to what you have to say. And if you do not listen or are not respectful when they speak, they will soon not want to talk to you or not want to listen to what you have to say. Trust and respect are two attributes that one should have coincide. Trust cannot occur without respect, and respect cannot occur without trust.
Well, moving to the next point, I'm going to talk about honesty and integrity. Well, we all know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about honesty, no? We all have been honest at least once in our lives. Well, just in case, I'm going to explain it. The first thing that you gotta do when you are working as a group, is talking about your strengths, your weaknesses, and your struggles. Why you have to do this? It's very simple. If you talk about those three things, you are gonna know how you can help the team. Imagine that I'm extremely bad at editing. How is the rest of the group going to know that I'm bad at editing if I don't tell them? They are going to notice once the project is finished and we are recording and we are going to send it, and they say, okay, his part is horrible. His part is horribly edited. If they know it, they can help me and the final project will be better. And it won't look like just a mixture of individual parts made by different people. Well, the next important thing about being honest is that once you start to talk about those three things, you are beginning a conversation with your teammates. And beginning a conversation helps to create a relationship among the members of the group. As easy as that. You can trust someone that you don't know. If you don't create a relationship with your teammates, they are not going to be able to trust you, and you're not going to be able to trusting them. This is not because you are bad people or because you think that all the world is against you. No, it's just because we are humans. We are not able of trusting someone that we don't know. I'm going to explain it with an example. Very easy. I'm walking through the street and I just see a stranger, and I say to him, "Hey, can you keep my wallet for 15 seconds and I'll come back now?" That looks weird, yeah? Because I don't trust him. Nobody trusts a stranger. As easy as that. In the other hand, if I tell that to a friend, that won't be weird. That's the point. We are humans. We can't trust a stranger. Well, moving up to the next part of this point, integrity. Why is integrity so important? Very simple. Honesty without integrity means nothing. It doesn't make sense to ask for help and to say, "Hey, I'm very bad at this, can you guys help me?" Because at the beginning, your team will say, "Hey, he's interested in the project." But once they see that what you are trying to do is just working as less as you can, they are gonna say, "Hey, I'm tired of this guy." That's the point. That's the point of integrity. You gotta be willing to help the rest of the group. It's working as a team is about that, giving and receiving. And once you give and once you receive, you trust and you are trusted. That's the point of honesty and integrity, and that's why these two things are extremely important for team trust.
I'd like to make a point about competencies and mastery when speaking of trust. Let's start with competence. In fact, it is one of the three main pillars when we're talking about the concept of trust. Say, when you're under the leadership of someone, your boss at work, your general if you're in the military, or the head chef if you work in a fancy restaurant, you always want to put your trust in someone you know is more capable than you of achieving the goal or task you have to do. That is because our instinct tells us to listen, follow, and imitate a behavior or an action of someone when we know that he is more capable than us of surviving, meaning he has more competences than us. This is what it comes really down to, because trust in fact is a two-way street. On one way, you have the followers that are trusting the leader to guide them, and on the other way, you have the leaders that have to communicate a certain set of skills and knowledge in order for the followers to achieve what they have to do. For instance, one competency that every leader should have is vision. For example, Jeff Bezos in Amazon or Steve Jobs in Apple, both of them knew how to communicate and embody a vision of an objective, of a goal, that he or she can transmit to his or her followers in order to guide them towards a goal or an objective. This kind of competency, though, is really hard to develop, and even more to transmit, given the fact it relies on making people trust on something that is not there. It's not even maybe happening right now. Another interesting competency one should really think about building is communication. The better you are able to make your point across, engage your listeners, and make them part of your speech, they will automatically put more trust in you than if you were sounding hesitant or self-conscious. As I said earlier, trust is an exchange from one party to another, and this exchange is brought to reality through words, actions, and gestures. Next, I would like to expand on the idea of mastery and the importance it has when speaking about trust. I would like to put forward an example. Let's say you are flying in a plane and you learn that the pilot has only 1 year of training. What would you prefer? To keep the pilot that has only 1 year in training, or to swap the pilot for one that has, say, 15, 20, even 40 years of flight, flight experience? I don't think you really need to answer that one, right? That's what it comes down to. Mastery is key when you're asking someone to put their trust in you. This is achieved through practice. I'm sure you have all heard the famous saying that you need to practice for 10,000 hours in order to become a master at an activity. Well, okay, don't take it literally, but you know what I mean. Trust comes easier to the people that know what they're doing, saying or trying to say and do. I would like to finish my point about mastery saying that if you ever want someone to put trust in you, even if it's yourself, make sure you can master as much as possible the skill or topic that you are requesting to be trusted on. This way, the people will automatically gravitate towards what you're asking to be trusted on, and make basically that exchange much more easy.
So the next aspect we'll be looking at for team trust is transparency. So transparency is when you allow people around you to see and understand your actions and intentions. It will show them you're reliable, dependable, and trustworthy. First and foremost, truthfulness and honesty are the first points to boost confidence in trust. When you show vulnerability and humility, people will sympathize and feel a connection. So for example, if you have a problem in your life and you speak about it with those people surrounding you, people will realize you are genuine and they will have no fears of you betraying them or deceiving them. This will build trust within the team and you guys will all thrive together and move forward.
Now we're going to talk about shared values. What is a shared value? A shared value is an action. It's something that, as a group, you should decide on being able to do all the time. It's not, how can I think outside of the box? It's, The next time that I have an issue that I need to confront, how am I going to confront it? How am I going to look in every possible direction for a better solution? And why is shared values so important? All you need to do is look at a sports pitch. If you look at a rugby team, every single person moves as a unit. Shared values create connectivity. For example, on a rugby pitch, if one person moves to the right, the other person instantly moves to the right as well, because you have to have their shoulder. You have to support them, and you need to be there to tackle the problem if they aren't. So in teams, if you're the ones tackling a big problem for your business, you have to have the same values. That's what creates trust. That's what creates the knowledge that if you do your part, the other person beside you is going to do it as well. Historically speaking, when you look at every single big movement, civil rights movements, women's rights movements, Black Lives Matters, they all have shared values. That's what unites you. And businesses should strive to write down their own shared values as well. To create an environment where everyone knows that they're part of something big. That everyone knows that their input is important. Shared values create trust. And trust is important because it's the best way to move forward as a unit and create big change.
So in conclusion, shared values and transparency allow teams to build a stronger bond and connect more efficiently. This will subconsciously build more trust. So each category falls hand in hand, whether it's accountability, respect, honesty and integrity, competences and mastery, or shared values and transparency. All these aspects form team trust, hence why they're to be used all together. So essentially, trust is the most important aspect for teamwork, as everyone will trust each other to do their part as a team and move forward all together, knowing that the work will be done jointly.